Welcome to Candid with Candy. I'm your host, Candy, and thank you so much for tuning in. My question for each of you today is: do you dare to be different? While there is no exact statistic, but according to the US News and World Report, it is safe to assume that 90 to 95% of marriages in India are arranged, and divorce is almost unheard of. To add, 90% of unmarried adults live with their parents. This is a culture that has worked and thrived for hundreds of years. But what if you are a part of that 10%? That 10% is questioned, that 10% is ridiculed, that 10% is awkward, that 10% is unique, and that 10% is my next guest. She dares to dream, she dares to be honest with herself, and behind the unorthodox is a woman who chooses to live on her own terms. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to have the bold and the beautiful Sarika Agarwal from Bangalore, India, as my next guest. Please welcome her. Hey Sarika, how are you?
I'm good, Candy. How are you? It's been such a long time. It's
And
good
it's
to see you.
Yeah, you stole my words out of my mouth. It's so lovely to see you. Thank you so much for making time for this chat.
I'm really excited. I feel like a celebrity, and I've been telling everybody, I have a show.
Absolutely, your 30 minutes of fame is about to go viral. We can begin with a quick introduction.
Okay. So I have worked for the last 18 years in one of the leading BPOs. Interestingly, 13th Feb was my date of joining. So on 13th Feb, just on Saturday, I got an email saying I've completed 18 years with my first and the only organization I worked with. So it gave me a mixed reaction, oh my God, 18 years, same organization. And another reaction was, oh my God, 18 years just flew by. And I've lived in different states. Practically, my hometown has been Jaipur because I've lived there for 20 years. But I recently moved to Bangalore. It's been 2 years.
Okay, wow. Yeah, I know. We'll talk about you living in different states as well because you have a very interesting childhood. You said that you were in Bihar when your father decided that you should, study in Darjeeling of all the places. And I think, we'll begin with that story. Let us know, how did you end up studying in Darjeeling?
That's an amusing story. So, I was born in Bihar, and my father was very fond of traveling. So, I remember as a child, my first vacation was to Darjeeling, one of the best hill stations of India. And while returning, my dad, he takes decision. He saw the schools there and he was like, I want my kids studying here. They seem like good schools. So he decided. And there I was studying in one of the convents in the boarding. And I really, really want to take this opportunity to thank my dad. Made the best decision for me for life because I loved my life during the boarding. It was a wonderful time.
Yeah, and how old were you when you started, as in when you went to school?
I think 3.5 years old. So I was in nursery. Yeah, that's when I started, and I've been in the boarding since then.
So you lived away from home since you were 3.5 years old.
Yes, I did. It was difficult in the beginning, but later I just loved it.
I went to a boarding school at the age of 6, I think, and I thought that was pretty early, but you beat me to it, Sarika. 3.5? You were just a toddler.
Yes, yes.
Oh my God. Then practically that's all the life you knew, right?
Yeah.
Life in Darjeeling was your childhood. So what was school life? And you keep saying that you loved it so much. Tell us why.
I loved my school life, one, because you have such different people. You learn to adapt and you learn to live with people of different backgrounds, different culture, different taste, different kind of experiences, right? And also the fact that we come from different level of, I would probably term it as level of income as well, right? So there are different ways of being raised. But when you come there together in the boarding, everybody's the same.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. And you have friends all the time around you, right? So there is not a moment in life when you actually will get bored, or have to look to do something, because there's always somebody around, and those friends are your lifelong friends. So that's why I would say that this one of the most beautiful life. And also the fact that because I was in a convent, we had all the nuns around, right? And they taught us so much of discipline and values in life, that is something which you carry on for your entire life. I really recommend that to most parents. Put your kids into, boarding. It's a good thing.
I would have to concur with whatever you said. Uh, I too grew up in a boarding school from class one until class 10, and I'm also in touch with all my school friends, and yeah, they're friends for life, and that definitely for me is also one of the best periods of my life. So another thing about school that you keep mentioning is the circle of friends that you had. I believe your best friend at that time was from.
Yes, at the start, something interesting that I have to tell you about her. She somebody who probably made me do things that I would ideally not do, good or bad. Okay, at that stage of life. So, as probably I belong to a very, a vegetarian family. Okay, very orthodox in what we eat. Okay, and my dad is especially very strict about all this, right? So I mean, he's so strict about this, and he believes in this so much that if there is a show going on TV where they're showing an egg preparation, he would change the channel, because he can't see that, right? So I've been raised with that kind of,
Yeah.
from that family. And then here in the boarding, I make a best friend. And so she used to get all these dried meat in these small packets. And
Yeah.
she used to tell me this is, some kind of a pickle, some kind of a churran. And she would make me eat all kinds of meat. Later I learned I ate deer meat, I don't know what meat. And I was like, I'm done for life.
So is that how you started eating non-vegetarian food in school?
Yes, absolutely. And now I hope none of my family members listen to this, see the show. But yes, I now am such a big meat lover that I can eat anything that crawls.
Yeah, I know how much of fish and chicken and all of that you've eaten with me
Oh,
in
yes,
Jaipur.
Candy. And I have to thank you for this because, right, whenever I used to visit you, and literally I used to be in your house all the time, right? And that I remember the rice and those fishes with the eyes are visible, right? They used to be so yum. I used to like eat them, and after that, go home, and I used to be all happy.
After school you went to Shimla for your 11th and 12th.
Yes, my
Then how
higher
did that
secondary.
happen?
Yes. Interestingly, academically, I was always a very good student until the 10th standard. Okay. I've always been first, securing the first position in all kinds of tests. Okay. So when I passed my 10th, I actually had a very high percentage. So I had option to go to choose my school. So I had option of Wellens and St. Bede's. And so when I went to visit Shimla, I liked that college, St. Bede's College. And yeah, and that's how I wound up there. Um,
And your parents were all okay with this?
oh, my parents are always okay with it because my dad was always very happy with the fact that if you're taking your education very seriously. And I joined Shimla with the intent, I took up science, medicals, because my dad always wanted me to, like every other parent, become a doctor. And I was good at it. But life had some other plans completely for me. So it didn't turn out the way it was supposed to be.
You were to study medicals, but you didn't. So then what happened? Where did you go?
So the last so many years, I was living a very, very, secured life, right? Going to St. Bede's, it gave me a little bit of freedom to explore and to bunk out. Okay. So probably I took that to an extreme level, and I kind of did not pay attention to my studies. And so I actually landed up with a supplementary in physics in my 12th standard. And my dad was horrified. He just couldn't believe, or for that matter, anybody couldn't believe. But yes, I start again, rewrote the examination, but the damage was done when I took up, arts. So that's how it changed.
So where did you move for your arts education?
So at that time, my parents moved to Jaipur, in Rajasthan. And yes, that was one of the biggest change in my life. Moving from all the time in the boarding to going and staying with my parents in a completely different city. So yeah, it was a very challenging, I would say.
Right. So this is why I wanted to also talk about it. About this piece is, I think what I've known of you for so many years was, once you landed up in Jaipur, I think you went through this period of identity crisis, because you were so used to, let's say, being with the northeastern people, because you were in Darjeeling and then you were in Shimla, so basically the people of the hills, right? That when you came to Jaipur, life was very different, right? So tell us about this period. How were you struggling and what was going on in your mind?
So that period was especially challenging for me. One, because I have not stayed with my parents for, throughout,
Right,
right?
right.
Not that, uh, I'm not close to them or
Right,
don't
right.
enjoy spending, but my meeting with them was more of holidaying and vacation time and being pampered. Now you go back to normal, life. So seeing that routine and, setting myself into my family way of doing things through the year was a new experience for me. Okay. Secondly, it was a new city. And Candy, it was so hot. It was so hot, right? Because I've always lived in the hill station. The only time I used to come home was the 3 months winter vacation. So the heat was something which I just couldn't understand at all. And I didn't know how to react or manage it. So it took me some months to get used to that, right? And then the whole culture, and when I started going to college, the kind of people that I had. Of course, they're all wonderful people, and I do have friends, but it took me a lot of time to set myself because I had a certain behavior when I was in, Darjeeling or Shimla. And when I came down to the plains, right, in Jaipur, they have a very different culture. Uh, so it took me some time to understand that, and it took some time for people to accept me for who I was. And also in my family, in my home, those everyday things mattered. I may sound very, I don't know, weird, but believe me, because in boarding, you have all your clothes marked with your own name and number, right? And they belong to you. So sharing a towel with my family member used to be a crisis for me because I'm not used to that. So little things, it took me time,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
change that whole thing. So yeah, that was a challenging time, but I think I got hold of it, and I understood what I need to change in order to, move on.
The towel one was a funny one, because everything is like mine, right? This is mine. This is my shoe. This is my top. This is my towel, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had that feeling too. But you, one unique woman, I know that, it's very typical, especially in the Indian culture, for parents who want to get their children married, right? Whether you're a daughter or you're a son, and arranged marriages are pretty common. And I know you also had, an experience with arranged marriages, at least an attempt to an arranged marriage. Tell us about this story, because I found it quite interesting and very bold of you to kind of make the decision that you did.
Okay, I don't know where to start, but yes, so I belong to, Agrawal community. And for most reason, everybody knows that this is one probably community in which, yes, and also the fact that I have two elder sisters, okay, who got married at the right age. It is only natural for me to, do that, right? But for some reason, I wasn't very comfortable in taking that decision of going for something like an arranged marriage. I always wanted to meet a person, fall in love, and and that's like every other probably girl's dream, right? To
Right.
know that this is the right person I want to settle with. But for some reason, that didn't happen. Okay. And I used to see my parents worrying more and more about me not getting married because I had reached an age which is, oh my God, you're supposed to have kids, grown up kids by that time, right? I had reached my age of 30s. Okay.
Wow.
I was like 32, 33. So that's like beyond age, right? And when you reach that age, then relatives and everybody start telling you, yeah, find anybody and get married, doesn't matter, right? They just want you to get married
It
because
doesn't
it's like,
matter.
yeah, it doesn't matter, last milestone of your life, right? So I used to come home and I used to see my dad, worried all the time. I used to see him, I used to see that tension. For some reason, every day seeing that led to that whole guilt factor where I said, chuck it, I have a decision to make. So I decided I'll go with my parents' happiness. I want to make them happy. I'll go with that. So they chose this guy. It was a proper arranged affair where the guy and the family came to see me. I don't remember being as nervous as I was on that day. Proper. There was Hindi movies. I got dressed up and I came in, and then we got talking and all of that. And to be honest, right from the beginning, I didn't have very positive thoughts, or I wasn't 100% sure. But
Who
because,
ever is 100% sure when you meet a guy for two, 3 times, Sarika?
or you get that feeling, right? Some kind of a feeling. I didn't even get that feeling. Yeah. But then I thought maybe it's too early. It's too early to, take such, think about such things, right? So I said, yes, let's do it. And we got engaged um, immediately. Of course, my parents wanted everything to happen. The date of the marriage was fixed in like a few months. Places were booked and everything, and
Oh, you had your
family was,
marriage place booked as well?
yes,
Was
the
was
date
the
and
cards done? The marriage cards? The wedding card?
no, but the booking amount was given to two places, so that was lost later. So, but after the engagement and that period, I realized that this is not a decision that I would make, I should make because I want to make my parents happy, because I didn't get all the right vibes. And I got more and more reason to believe that this is not a good match. And so I decided that rather than, regretting and suffering for the entire life, it is better to take the decision and break this off now. And I knew it would take hell, it would create hell for my parents, but it needs to be done. I can't be in that miserable state for the rest of my life. I went back to my parents and I told them, and I had to tell them, give them all the reasoning as to why I don't want to get married and why I don't want to pursue this. They were, of course, shocked, but I think they reached a point in which they did understand that, they need to side or support me. So thankfully, I got that support and I could break that engagement off. And
What what was the reaction from your relatives? I mean, there would have been a lot of criticism and shaming and gossip.
yes, there was. But I have my mother to thank for that, because I think she shielded me from most of it. She faced all the brunt. But yes, there was a lot. And I've reached that stage where now I've learned how to handle such relatives. So every time they come up to me and they say, why aren't you getting married? All of that. So I very clearly tell them, You find a guy for me, show it, show him to me, and if he's a nice guy, I'll get married. And everybody then just disappears because nobody is going to take the responsibility of doing that. They just have to, say that, right? So I've started countering people like this.
So you found a way, you found a tool.
Yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Sarika, this is a great learning for, a lot of people, I think, are in this similar situation that you were in, right? So many people, at least in the Indian society, get engaged and they're like, oh my God, I can't spoil this for my parents. I can't spoil this for the person, who I'm engaged to. And to save face, right? They just go ahead with the marriage because they're too scared, right? Um,
Yeah.
so what advice would you give to such people? Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Kenny, there is one thing I have learned in life, and I really, really like that, and I live by that. So, what I've learned is that there are always choices in life. It's always very difficult to make the choice. Right or wrong doesn't matter, your choice, right? But once you made that choice, stick by it. And that is something which I live by all the time whenever I am in such situations. I know probably the choices I make will hurt 10 people around me, but I know that choice will make probably there is also a selfish side to it, right? Because it's my life at the end of the day. Only I will deal with the stress of my life, or I will deal with the happiness of my life. It always comes to that individual self to manage. So for me, it is that, and that is where I make that choice, and I intend to stick by it because I know this is something which I want to do for my life. I sometimes really don't care about what others are thinking or saying.
So you take full accountability and full responsibility.
Absolutely, you're right.
Should
I
be.
knew if I made this choice, I may be wrong, or I may, feel regret, but that's my choice.
Right, right. Just to add to what you were saying, this is what I always tell my siblings and the people that I've trained in the past as well. I don't have a choice, by the way, is also a choice you've made.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely, you're right.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So when
Yeah,
somebody says, I don't have a choice, I tell them, boss, that is the choice you've made. So,
that's right.
another aspect, Tarika, that I wanted to talk about was there was a lot of body shaming, right? That you had to go through because of how you're built and your weight.
Candy, I was rejected on. So my parents had me on the matrimonial sites,
Mhm,
right?
mhm, mhm.
And I was rejected on those sites only and only for this reason, for being overweight. No other aspect, right? I was like probably meeting every other criteria, right? But because I'm a little overweight, so I was being rejected left, right, center because of that, right? And that is something which is when you get that response, when you see that, no matter how strong of a person you are, right, you do feel um, helpless, you feel humiliated at the end of the day, you feel what's going on, what's wrong. And I went through those stages where I felt that uh, I'm not worth some things, right? But after reaching a certain stage, especially when you start working and you realize your individual self, I realized that this is only a part, right? And no matter what body shape or body size or how you look, that doesn't matter. The important thing is that one should be happy and comfortable in what they are. And I have become very comfortable in my body type. I don't hesitate in wearing the shortest dress on this face of earth, okay, or dressing up. And thanks to you, Candy, I always have you to thank for this because you changed my whole statement of style, right? I used to be that person who had zero sense of fashion. And the moment I met you and we became friends, after that, there was this change where people used to come and see and they used to say, "Oh my God, you dressed up so well." And it was all thanks to you because you taught me so much
Oh, come
about
on.
everything in life. That was only one aspect, of course. And I'm really, really grateful to you every day of my life. I love you for that.
I
Yeah.
love you
So,
too.
yeah, I become very happy and comfortable in my body structure. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day. But that is what is important, that I know a lot of people go through that. I still have people who are very close to me commenting on my weight. Uh, and I just don't understand. It has to do with person being comfortable, person being normally healthy in terms of all those medical things. That is what is important, right?
Right,
Nothing else.
right, right. As long as you strive to be healthy, your doctor signed off on you saying, you know what, yeah, you are healthy. Wait, my son is up, hang on. And we always should strive to be fit, absolutely strive to be healthy. But I think beyond that, there are certain things that we can't control, right? And like you rightly said, if we are comfortable in our own skin, then to hell with the rest of the world, right?
Yeah, yeah, right, absolutely.
And I'm sorry, I have my son who's trying to kind of
I'm so happy to see him.
half his head. Anyway, you are really bold, and I really look up to you for that. And I think, hats off for you always fighting to do what you want, right? And what is important to you. It's really not about being selfish, right? It's about being true to yourself and being honest with yourself, right?
That's
And,
right.
and you've done that so well in every step of the way, even though it wasn't easy, but you eventually did it, right? And that leads
Thank you
me
so
to
much.
the next point. What you also did was you took that decision of moving out of your parents' house, right, in a place like Jaipur. And why I mentioned Jaipur is because culture is again very different within different cities of India, right? So if you are in Mumbai or Delhi, that's a pretty common thing to do. But when you're in a place like Jaipur, a woman, a single woman, moving out of a parent's house into a separate apartment, I'm sure there are people who do it, but it's not something that is celebrated. It's not something that families are proud of, right? It's questionable, and you did it. So tell
Yeah.
us what happened.
So I reached a stage, an age, of turning 35. And by that time, I had decided that I don't want to get married. Okay. Because of a lot of reasons. One, because I didn't want to go through this whole cycle of going through that arranged marriage. Because of a lot of, uh, marriages failing and not going well around me. Then I was in a very serious relationship for a couple of years, and that turned out to be extremely abusive. And that kind of led me also to take the decision that I don't want a partner in life if that's the kind of life that I have to lead. So all these things led me. And the most important thing was that if I'm not getting married, the only support that probably I have right now when I'm living with my family is my parents.
Right.
And my parents are already at the age of 60. They are more dependent on me than me on them, right? And it's a scary thought, but that thought crossed my mind. What happens if my parents are not there? Financially, will I be able to support myself and live independently? So that is what prompted me that I have to move out and test that I can live without support.
Okay, so what you're saying is to really test your independence, you wanted to live on your own.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. That's a nice way of looking at it. I'm just curious, what did your parents have to say about your decision to remain single?
My mother and everybody still asks me or has that hope that I will, decide to get married. So that hope never goes away. Candy, when I moved out, it was such a tensed situation to be able to get up and tell my parents that I'm moving out, my family. Oh my God, I had sleepless nights. I was like a you have this pressure cooker, right, which is about to go off, blow off anytime. So I've taken the decision, but telling and communicating is the most difficult. But I found courage to do that. And believe me, my obviously they were not happy with that. My father did not speak to me for the next 6 months.
6 months.
Yes, he did not. But I think at the end of the day, parents are parents. They love you and they kind
Yeah.
of give.
No, but you've just had a very dramatic life. And and that's exactly why I wanted to have you on the show, because you have such a unique life, and you make all these decisions, and you raise people's eyebrows because you never follow the norm, and it's wonderful.
I'm the black sheep
Like,
of the family.
oh, okay. And then after that, you moved to Bangalore, and that wasn't such a big change, I'm sure, because you had already been living away from home.
Oh, yes. And I always wanted to move to Bangalore for some reason. I love this city. So it was all good for me moving here. Yeah.
I remember you talking about Bangalore many, many, many years ago, wanting to go to Bangalore, and you finally did it.
You know that I'm a very outgoing person, and huh, you are the one who has introduced me to go to all kinds of party. Remember parties, crazy ones, and I used to love them. Dress up and then go. I love that life. And for me, Bangalore used to always be that life. I always had this in my mind. And of course, Bangalore is a lovely city. Jaipur, I love as my hometown, but Bangalore is an equally good city. So I'm happy here.
Yeah, and the weather you can't compare.
Oh, yes, that is fantastic. Remembering the heat of Jaipur, this is heaven.
So you're
Absolutely.
leading. So you're leading the life that you've always wanted, Sarika. How are you placed today?
Honest, Candy, yes, I am leading the life that I wanted to a certain degree. But I feel that happiness doesn't have a definition. It is in the moment, uh, which makes you happy. Some things don't make you happy, right? And I'm using this bold statement. If I die tomorrow, I will have zero regrets. So I've had a very content life. Whatever I've done, I'm very happy with it. Is there more I can do? Yes, there's absolutely a lot more I can do. But I think I'm very comfortable. So yes, I'm in a good space.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. And you do sound like you are in that happy space. You are glowing, and it took a lot for you to kind of have this life that you're leading today. But all your sacrifices, your bold decisions, and your choices have paid off. And yeah, I wish you the very best. And I'll definitely hit you up when I come to Bangalore. I'm going to come and just stay there.
Yes, I will be super excited. Please come down to Bangalore and stay with me. It would be so lovely.
Yes, it will. I really appreciate you coming on my show. And I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you, Candy, for having me on the show.
Oh,
I
you're
love it.
welcome. I couldn't have said no.
Thank you. Take care.
You, bye.
Bye bye.
I hope you liked Sarika's story. Thank you so much for tuning in. Do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Please like and share too. Till next Tuesday, here's wishing each of you a safe week. Ciao.